All right, how's everybody doing out there tonight? I hope everybody's having a great time. This is Saturday night. My friend Pete is at the shop working. I'll be here for a while tonight working. The weather's starting to turn over here. It's starting to get a little cool out. It's supposed to be 32 degrees tomorrow, believe it or not, out here in Dallas, Texas. But we're still here and we're going to keep on working. Anyway, what we got is a situation. Now, the last few live videos that I've done has been on this Camaro. And let me tell you something. It has been a real bear. So everybody that's joining in, that's watched the live videos on this Camaro, it's a real joke. And let me tell you what, we're almost ready to wrap this thing up. I don't want to walk too far away because I got piss poor Wi-Fi, but I'm finishing up on this quarter panel right here. And on our last live video, I think I went over the quarter panel that we put on before this, where we actually had to split it in half, and it was a 1 inch too short. So we finally got a good quarter panel that fit. You can see that it's a real nice fit. And you can also see where I have tack welded, spot welded it on in place, getting ready to seam it all up, grind it down, and get her done. Yeah, it's a late night with my friend Pete. There you go. Okay, I want to say hi to everybody. If I don't talk to you when you leave comments, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get these videos done. Yeah, Limpy's not here today. Cool as ice. He's at home. He's probably watching this video right now, wishing he was here, but there's nothing I can do about Limpy. Actually, his name's Gimpy with a G. So we got the quarter panel in, and it lined up really nice. Let me go ahead and push that down. You can see we got a little bit of an issue right here in this area. That's pretty common with that. But if we look over here, you can see we got a lot of play here where we could go ahead and adjust that in. So that's going to line up. We'll get that, don't worry. We got our tail panel right here. This is the section that we're going to replace. It's going to go in right here. Can we see that? There it is. All right, so that goes in after the quarter panel goes in, and it's starting to look good. But I started welding this, and I said, you know, there's a big controversy about welding these on. Now, let me get my flashlight over here because I want to show you how I do this. And there's people out there that disagree with me, and they come up with all this, you know, yin-yang bullshit, you might say. But I don't know if anybody remembers, I patched this section in right here. Instead of replacing the whole quarter panel, we went ahead and did this angle here on it. And then inside, if we look in here, you can kind of see what we got going there. That's called a flange weld. That is a flange weld, everybody. And that's what we're going to learn tonight. What's better for me to do, flange or butt welding? Okay? I can tell you one thing that's not good to do, and that's this fucking bullshit. Look at this mess. Believe it or not, you're going to get shocked when I tell you this. Everybody's going to have a heart attack. That's actually dustless blasting you're looking at. That's the leftovers of dustless blasting. That's it right there. Real mess. Stay away from that shit. I'm still digging sand out of this car as we speak. So, back to our quarter panel. Now, on this particular quarter panel, we're doing butt welding, and we're also doing flange welding. Now, if we look over here, this is a butt weld. Do you see how that's butted together, and we're welding? We're going to weld that up, okay? That is not going to be a flange weld. If we look up here, this is a flange weld right here, all right? That's where we made a flange. This fits inside that, and then we weld it up, and it'll be a nice flush mount. Now, a lot of people are looking at that. This is a lot of welding. All right, go back into my videos or wait until this video set comes up. I'm going to show you the correct way to do that so you don't get no warpage. And this is your trick right here. That's the trick to no warpage. We ain't got time to explain that, but you can figure it out. Okay? So this one here is actually ready to finish out. It's ready to weld up and get done. But I was working on this tonight, and I said, I want to show everybody the difference between a butt weld and a flange weld, and then we'll go ahead and take it from there. So let's get over here. We're going to be working over here. I got a couple pieces of sheet metal here, scrap metal. We got one right there. We got another one right there. And then, of course, we got this piece right here. And I'm going to show you what we're talking about when we say flange welding and butt welding. Let me get my camera set up here. See if I can get this thing on here. So bear with me. We're going to get her all together. I don't want to drop my phone. I don't have $9,000 fucking dollars to go buy another phone. And I don't know if anybody has actually, there we go. Okay. So now we're actually looking down at my work table here, my little welding table that I got. And I don't know if anybody has noticed, but I think the iPhone sales have gone down since they came out with that iPhone 8. I'm using an iPhone 6, and I think that it's an overpriced situation on the deal, but I won't be buying another phone for a while, I can tell you that. Not for no $1,000 fucking dollars. Okay, so here we are right here. How's everybody doing out there? And we're going to be down here working on the table. So, what we got is, the first things first is our safety equipment. Always wear your safety equipment. We got gloves and we got glasses. In some cases, when you're grinding, you might want to use some ear protection. But we don't need no ear protection because we're going to be welding. So the next favorite thing is going to be our welding helmet. Now we're going to be MIG welding this. We're not going to be TIG welding. 99.9% of the world that's going to do this is going to use a MIG welder. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what a flange weld is versus a butt weld. And then I'm going to tell you which one I like the best and why. And a lot of people disagree with me, but you know, that's why we live where we live, so we can do what we want and take the criticism up our ass and, you know, go down the road. So this piece right here, I cut that off of here, so this will be our butt weld. We're going to go ahead and butt weld that one, and then on this piece right here, we're going to go ahead and flange weld that, okay? I don't know if it goes, I think it goes like, yeah, right there like that. Okay. So I cut this end off here for a flange weld, and then we're going to turn it around and we'll do that. So let's go over the tool we're using. This is called a flange tool. I'm going to tell you where I bought that. I got that at Northern Tool, I think, for $39. And I've had a lot of these, believe it or not. I've had a lot of these and I've thrown them away. Most of them that you buy have a trigger on them. Okay, a trigger like right here. Okay. And they just don't work good. So I went to Northern Tool and I bought this. I said, oh well, I'll give it a try and see how it works. And this has been the best one. But I'm going to get a little close. I can't tell if you're in the camera right here, but if you look real close, you can see there's like a stair-step action going on in here. And that's what's going to give us our flange. Now, there's a certain way to use this flange, and I'm going to show you that in a second. Now what this does, this creates a 3/4 inch to possibly a 7/8 inch flange. And what a flange is basically a lip for our piece of metal to sit in. So when you look at the metal like this, let me get that up there just a little bit. All right, see if we can get that up there. You can see that this is on top of that, and when you weld that, that's not going to be a flush mount. So to create a flush mount, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put a flange across this edge right here. So I'm going to take my air hose, hook it up, and then this is how the flange tool works. You just pull the trigger, and you can see the jaws moving in and out. And you have to use this the right way. So if we're going to lay this on top of here, we want our flange to be where this piece of it is facing down, and then the lip will be raised up. So if you hold it up away from the metal, just like this, okay, you can see, hopefully you can see that in the little camera we got going here, that it creates a flange on it. So we're going to take our flange tool and we're going to go across here. That's our punch, not our flange, excuse me. So we're going to go ahead and take our flange tool and we're just going to run it all the way across, just like you see me doing. And then, to make and ensure that we get a good flange on this 18 gauge steel, we're going to go back over it one more time. And I'm overlapping my flange as I'm using it to make sure that I get a good flange and a nice straight line. So then, if we look at it, you can see that we got a nice flange right there, and this piece is ready to fit in here and weld, and it now has become a flush mount surface. And then of course on this end over here, let's get over here, you can see that this piece, we're going to go ahead and butt weld that. Now I'm going to go ahead and butt weld it on the table, but when you're doing a quarter panel or whatever you're working on, you're going to be welding it, and it's not going to be sitting on a piece of flat steel. It's going to be in the air like this, and you're going to have to weld that. Now, Minnie the Body Shop Girl isn't here tonight, so we can't hold it up in the air and I'm going to weld it. We're going to have to use the table to do that. So this one will be our butt weld, and then of course we're going to take this piece right here, flip it over, and then that will be our flange weld. Let's get our welder equipment on, let's get our helmet going, and let's start welding as we learn what a flange weld is versus a, yeah, you got it, butt weld. I already got my welder going. Are we still on over here? Let me double check that. Make sure, okay. All right, everybody's there. Thank you very much. I'm on the other side of the camera now. And now we're gonna go back. Let me readjust that. Put that up right there is where we want it. Okay. All right. I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't like doing these live videos. I would rather prefer to actually film and edit the videos. But it seems like a lot of you guys out there are liking these live videos. And if you like them, I like them. So we're going to keep on doing them. So to create the flange weld like we just did, the first thing we need to do is get our welder unfucking connected, because now we're all tangled up here. Let me get that out, please. There we go. Okay. And this is one reason that it's hard to do these live videos, because you get all set up and it turns out to be a pain in the ass, but that's okay. So to do our flange weld, now keep in mind that this is going to be floating in the air when you weld that on, just like that. And the way that I like to do my flanges is, let's say that this is the car, and then of course this would be the quarter panel that we're going to put on. We're going to lay that on there. But if you can see that from that angle right there, you can see that there's a gap in between the flange, the end of the flange, and the quarter panel section, which is this piece. And I like to actually keep it about a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch away. And then that way I can fill that valley in and it'll become a nice strong weld. A lot of people ask me, before I weld that, they ask me, do you use welding primer? Or whatever the fuck they call it. No, I don't. I don't believe in that stuff. And when you create all the heat that we're going to create, I think that welding primer, or whatever it's called, more or less just melts off, and it really doesn't do anything but nothing. So we're going to go ahead and get this welded on here, and I'm going to go ahead and put a couple spot welds on that and see what happens. And we're going to create this just like it was a quarter panel. Bring that out, there we go, right there. So the first thing you're going to do on your flange is you're going to go ahead and spot weld that on there. And I usually go approximately, when I'm doing a full quarter panel, I'm going about every 2 inches. And I'll go down and put all, you saw the spot welds we had over there. And then what I'll do is I come back and I fill them in. Now, another thing that I do, let me get my hammer. If I can find my body hammer. Is when you got your quarter panel on the card, remember this is the car, this is our quarter panel. The quarter panel is going to have a gap in it. And instead of me taking my hammer and hammering that down and warping that as I'm welding it, I'll take my body hammer like you see here, and I'll hold that down. Let me get this hand in the way. I'm going to hold that down real tight, okay? Now, a lot of people will say, why don't you put screws in there? Well, I do put screws in there, but I don't put a lot of screws. I put the most minimal screws that I need to hold that quarter panel on, and then once I get it in place with the 2 or 3 screws I got, I'll take my hammer and I'll push down on it like that. And as I'm pushing down on it, I go ahead and spot weld that on. So now that this is spot welded, we're going to let that cool down because we don't want to warp the steel. So now we just ran into a spot on our quarter panel where we got to butt weld it. And that's where this comes in. You can see that this is just a regular old piece of steel that we have that lines up with that. Now remember, once again, when you're welding on the car, it's going to be floating in the air. It's not going to be laying down. So we're going to take that piece and then we're going to push that together using our hand, because one piece is going to be a little warped, okay? I'm going to bend that just to show you here. So you can see that that's got a bend. We'll say that's our quarter panel. And if you put it down, you can see where it's not going to line up properly. So once again, you might take your hammer, all right, just like this. You get it lined up the best you can. Then you take your hammer to line it up. And then you're going to push on it and get it all lined up where it goes. And then you're going to repeat your process. And you're going to go ahead and put a couple tack welds on it. Just like you see right there. And you want to take your time when you tack weld that, because when you're butt welding it, you're going to get more warpage out of it than if you flange weld it. Look on the back here, you can see the strength and support that we got from our flange weld. And if you look at this, there's no support at all. There's nothing, okay? All we got to support this is our welds. When you're doing a flange weld, you're making that weld 2 to 3 times stronger, and the quarter panel, in my opinion, and the replacement panel is going to last a lot longer, and you're also going to get less warpage using a flange due to the fact that you have created a rigid structure on that quarter panel right there to strengthen that metal up, instead of just taking your metal like this and spot welding it together. So what I got here is I got my bucket of water. Somebody called it a piss pot. That's okay. No problem there. We're not pissing in our buckets, but we got a sponge down in the bottom of that. And this is how I weld on quarter panels and stuff so I don't get warpage. I take my welding sponge. You can see what it looks like here. And then I'll take my hammer or whatever I got, okay, and once you get a spot welded on, like I said, it's going to be on the car, so you really don't have to worry about it. But what I'll do is I'll take my welder, and then I'll go ahead and do a stitch weld. I'll start over here, and let me get that spot welded. But I'll start on one end, and then once I do that, I'll go to this end, and then I'll meet myself in the middle. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead, and this is called a stitch weld. And then I take my sponge while it's hot, and I cool it down. Okay, just like that. All right, so we got that side done. Now we're going to come over here, and we're going to do the same thing over on this side while that's cooling down. And then we're going to take our sponge, and now we'll cool that down. And one more thing, don't be afraid just because you got water in a welder, you're not going to get shocked. You're grounded good, everything's working out okay, and you're doing a good job, okay? Everybody's doing a good job today. Look at the bottom of this. This is what you call a butt weld. Do you see how you can see the weld on the other side? Okay? So this is a butt weld, and then you're going to use your water to cool everything down so you don't get warpage in it. And every now and then you got to come back and you hit your welds just like that as you're going. You don't want to take your hammer. If you see like a little valley creating, don't take your hammer and hit around it, because all you're doing is making a bigger dent. All right? We don't want to do that. What you want to do is just tap on those welds. If you can reach inside, you want to take your dolly, and then what this is called a hammer weld. Right when you get done quenching that weld, you take your hammer and, all right. Now what we've done, we have heated it up with our welder, we cooled it down with our sponge, and then we came back and we hammer welded it using our dolly and our hammer. And that's another thing that'll stretch the metal out and keep it nice and straight. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up real quick, and then we'll see what it looks like. Let me get a little more water here. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and do this right here. Going to cool it down just like that. We might take our hammer, give it a little tap like that. Then once that's cooled down, we go ahead and finish it out. We're going to take our sponge, pulling it down, take our hammer, and by using our sponge, I want everybody to look at that. You can see there's no warpage, came out really, really nice, and that's the way that you do it when you're replacing these quarter panels, these big long quarter panels. But we're here for this reason right here, and that's what you call a butt weld. You got to get good penetration on it, and you got to be able to see that it looks like you welded it on the inside of your panel, not just the outside. If you look at that and you can see a line there, all right, where it looks like it didn't penetrate through and melt together, then you did a shitty weld. You need to go back to fucking school and learn how to weld, buddy. Okay? But that's what we're here for my friend Pete, to teach you some stuff that I do my way. Okay? Now, I'm reaching inside the car, and I'm taking my dolly, and I'm going to go ahead and dolly that. So now this side of the quarter panel's done. We got to get over here now, because we had a flange weld over here. Now, what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to repeat my process and get this welded on, doing exactly the same thing with my sponge. And then I'm going to put that right there. And let's get this one welded up, and then we're going to look at the two of them. And then, of course, if you're doing it on the quarter panel like this, you ain't going to have a puddle of water here. But pay attention how I'm doing this flange weld. I'm going to let you go ahead and figure out what I'm doing different. Now, once again, like I said, I'm doing this flat. We got a lot of water going on, so if you're doing this like this, you're not going to get all that splattering. This is just a little lesson here is all this is. But I want to know if anybody out there sees me doing anything different to the flange weld than what I was doing to the butt weld. Let me go ahead and finish this out. Okay, we're going to cool it down, just like that, making sure it's nice and cool. Let me tell you what the water does. You're heating the metal up, and it's shrinking, okay? I mean, it's stretching out and it's falling down. Once that water hits that weld, what it does, it shrinks the metal and then lifts it back up and stretches it at the same time. So you got a nice flat surface with minimal warpage. All right? And that's what we're looking at here. Now, let me explain what I did different. We're going to go ahead and use this little screwdriver as a pointer. If you saw me weld this, I was kind of like what I call it stitch welding, where I, bam, 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 bam. Because if I do a continuous weld on that, what's going to happen? That's going to give me the opportunity to literally melt through the butt weld, and then I'm going to have a big hole that I'm going to have to fill up, and then we're going to really start getting warpage. But on our flange weld, you saw what I did there. I got a continuous long stitch, and then I would stop, and then I'd come over here and I'd put a stitch over here, then I'd stop, then I got one here and then here. So I didn't have to go bam, 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 bam using our flange like I did with our butt weld. That's one opportunity you have doing a flange weld. Another thing about using a flange weld is, again, I'm going to go ahead and repeat it, this is going to be a stronger, sturdier weld because you got the ridge right here that you created, which is going to give you strength. You got 2 layers of metal. Now you could go back in there if you can reach, and you can spot weld that on there if you want, but it's not necessary. All right? Once that vehicle that you're working on gets on the road and it starts driving down the road, all right, I'm going to ask you a question. Which is going to be more stronger? Which is going to hold together better through vibration and road conditions and everything else? Is this going to hold on there tighter where we just put the 2 pieces together? Or is our flange weld going to be the way to go? I'm going to let you make your mind up because everybody's different. I personally like the flange weld, and I'm going to answer one more question for you. Let's take our Camaro, for instance. That's a 1967 Camaro. So that would be, how old would that be? 50 years old? Okay, and the car's still in excellent condition. So it would take a very, very long time to get this any type of situational problems of getting rust in your lifetime or mine. So let me get my camera here, or my phone I should say. All right, here we go. All right, is everybody still with us? I don't know if this is boring to you or if you're really learning anything or what have you, but this is Live Lesson Friday right here. And I'm going to get a little close-up of that. You can see right here, this is our butt weld. This is the back side of our butt weld. This is the back side of our flange weld. Now, one thing that you can do on the flange weld, you can go ahead and take some seam sealer and put seam sealer on this. And you can seam seal that flange weld up. Another thing you can do is you can take some Pour 15 and you can use a splatter gun that you would use on 3M undercoating. Tons of Anarchy. How you doing, sweetheart? Ain't seen you in a long time. I hope you're working on that van. But you can take your Pour 15, turn your nozzle way down and shoot it up inside there, all right, and get all necessary stuff that you need to do and make it all right for you. So, you know, don't be fooled by welding and this, that, and the other. Okay, either one will work for you. My personal opinion is the flange weld's going to be a better weld right here, okay, and it's going to give you more strength and durability. You're going to be able to weld that a lot quicker, more accurate. You're going to get more weld on it. All right, you look at here. This is our, there you go right there. And of course, I did this quick, so, you know, I know they look like gorilla welds, but what the fuck? You know, this is still something we're learning tonight. Sponge, very important. Okay, that's a very important situation right there. And if you look at this panel here, let me grab that flashlight. We're over here now. I want you to check this out. This was, I call these sponge welds because we're using a sponge. But I want you to look at that. There's no warpage on it. It came out awesome. And this is, I would say, 90% flange and probably 10% butt welded. So, you know, use that sponge, do a nice weld, and you're going to be a welder just like my friend Pete. The flanging tool goes approximately 3/4 of an inch. It's a 3/4 inch to 1 inch. It depends on the tool that you buy. But this is already flanged. You can see it right here. There's a flange. And then let's look right here. This is a butt weld. Now, the way that I got those two pieces of metal to meet is I used my hook tool. Let me see if I can find that. I don't even know where that went. I drilled some very small holes because I don't like, anyway, I got a fucking pick tool. Okay, I don't know where my pick tool is. So, okay, here we go right here. Okay, if you look right here, this is a hook tool. So what I did is I drilled a couple holes, or actually these were screw holes. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right, sorry about that, everybody. My daughter was trying to call me. There you go. So what I do, let's go back to that. I use this pick tool right here. This is the only one I got. You can buy this in a kit of 10. And then I took my pick tool just like that, and then I pulled it toward me to line it up, and then I spot welded it all on. So anyway, this is Pete, my friend Pete, your friend Pete. We are working late tonight. Many of the body shop girls at home. And I hope everybody out there is going to have a great Halloween. My mug should scare a lot of people. I'm an ugly bastard. And if that doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. We'll see you later. I hope you enjoyed this little Live Lesson Friday. When is Halloween? Tomorrow night, I guess, is Halloween. So happy Halloween and have a great weekend. My friend Pete will be down here bright and early tomorrow working on the Camaro. Because my goal is to get the Camaro done. So, whew, big job. Big, big job. We'll see you later. Take it easy. And always remember, okay, hold on. Miller what? Yeah, I got a Miller welder right there. I got 2 Miller welders. Always remember, flange weld, butt weld. Okay? Flange weld is what my friend Pete likes. I suggest the butt weld. Do it if you want, if you like it. It all depends on what you like to do and, you know, what you feel comfortable with. I hope you learned something out of this video set. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not a subscriber, and comment below. Let everybody know what you think. Let's get some comments going, some controversy. If you like what you see, tell everybody. If you got a better way to weld and something that can help everybody out in the welding community, share that with us. I read all the comments, most of them, and I try to re-comment back to you. And if you got different angles of doing what I'm doing, let me know, and I'm going to try them out. We'll see you later. Take it easy. My friend Pete, your friend Pete, everybody's friend Pete, right here at SWR&C DIY Auto School, doing it right, because if we're not doing it right, we're not doing it at all. See you later.